I do believe that is everything done. I will just go over to live scene, clearing my throat, and it would also help if I turn the camera on. Hello, it's Saturday. I'm just trying to find my way around. There we go. So, how is everybody? I'm just saving my story to Instagram. I've just put a link up to say I'm live on Instagram. So, I want to make sure I save it as well. It's still posting. Done all the links because this is very impromptu. Again, no plans, no announcements that this was happening. I've actually decided to come in a little bit earlier. It's just gone 6 o'clock here in Britain, GMT, and I decided to come online a bit earlier and take it from there. So I'm just gonna shuffle the camera around a bit, just save this to my highlights because I'm highlighting all my lives on YouTube, on Instagram. So let's move that out of the way. I thought I would continue painting the Dark Angel Space Marine that I started painting yesterday. Some of it isn't entirely complete. It's not 100%. So I thought I'd do a bit more to it. So there's my water. Move that out of the way. I've got five? What's five? Five. I've got 5 other Dark Angels to paint as well. But I don't like to rush them. They're all similar in scale and they'll all be painted in the same manner, so I probably won't paint them all together. Rosea, hello, lovely to see you. Welcome. And one for Amanda as well. ASMR Simplicity, I should add. So yes, it's don't want that one. I'm trying to be a bit organised, and I'm not exactly organised. Let me know if the background music is too loud or too quiet, or you want it changed, because I can change it. It's not that one I want. This is as much your live stream as it is my live stream. This is a very interactive session, and pardon me whilst I go potty trying to find all the colours that I am looking for. Sea green, that's very Dark Angels. I have been thinking about changing the way I do some of the colours. I've been thinking about it all last night. So we shall see how things go. No. No, that's the new Dark Angels. Is that the new one? Oh no, that's the one that was open. It's fine. It's the black that's missing. Ah, there it is. That's the one I want. I want to do some quick tidy-ups. Now, granted, you won't be able to see a lot of what I'm doing because my camera isn't set up, and I won't be looking at the camera all the time. So I will just sit here and chat. And, just rambling, and I need to shave. I know that much. This beard has got ridiculously long, bushy. But I will sort that out this week. But I'm not going to deny I have been struggling a little bit over the last few hours. I've not had the greatest of days. Nothing serious or major. Just felt a bit drained. That's the thing. But nothing untoward or anything to be worried about. That's what I want. So if I do go quiet, don't mind me. I'm just focusing on what I'm doing. Sort of fixing little mistakes. Well, not little mistakes, just tidying up and fixing bits that aren't supposed to be certain colours. And again, let me know if the music is too quiet or too loud or not engaging enough. You know, this is all about you as much as it's about me. I think that's very important. I think that distinction. No. Is that my new one? Oh, that's my new one. What's that? I don't know now. It's Dark Angels Green, whatever. Oh, cool. Glad you like it. You know, when you gave me the idea, when you gave me the criteria of what you wanted, I knew. I mean, obviously that's why I worked with you first. You know, you wanted something, and I wrote it, and you know, that's how I like to collaborate. You know, I like to. Work and adapt to each individual, and of course the script that I wrote for you was a lot of fun to write. It was genuinely a lot of fun to write. Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place myself, but that's not something I want to focus on at the moment. For me personally, I think that's great that you're getting out there and searching. It's just that the situation very complicated from my side of things on a personal level, but that's okay. That should be black. That should be. But yeah, I mean, I'm still doing bits and pieces. I'm still doing tales of the caravan and still looking for people to help me out. And I recently joined Tumblr, and I'm actually having quite I'm actually having sort of people reaching out to me and actually saying, can we join? It's, yeah, I know that feeling all too well. I know that feeling all too well. Yeah, it's difficult. But yeah, as I say, I recently joined Tumblr, and you know, things. I've been getting a lot of interest. Some of the sort of specific characters, you know, I'm getting a lot of people interested in the role of mages and nobles and rogues and things. Not so much the core focus of the caravan, but that's okay. That will come in time, and I can always plug the gaps where there are gaps. So that's and there's a lot of voice actors as well involved. A lot of people interested in voice acting. So, you know, I've opened the doors up to them. I think it is going to end up being a much more yeah, well, if people want to be involved, you know, drop me a line. You know where to find me. Yeah. I mean, it's. Yeah, I mean, I'm still sort of having difficulty finding the sort of core of the storyline, but I'm quietly. I always knew that would be a struggle, and I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. It's just life, really. You know, it's as I say, I will never force anyone into anything they don't want to do. That is how I look at it. It is not my place to. Got contrast paint on my fingers. I have bright red hands, but that's okay. That's what these tissues are for. Yeah, so you know, I think there is a natural reluctance for participants for certain character types. I've been very open from day one. I've been very open about the project from day one. I've never hidden the fact. I'm also making sure to say it's non-profit. You know, it is amateur. I certainly can't afford to pay professionals to join me. And that would be a lot of fun, but also expensive. So you know, I've got to. Oh, nice. Send me a photo. I'd love to see them. Drop me a photo over on Discord. But yeah, I mean, I've even expanded. I mean, I've even created a whole Discord server based around the project and everything. It's obviously evolving. It's constantly growing. It's not static. we shall see what happens. But sorry, I'm just checking something. Something came up on my phone. Oh, it's okay. It's only junk. It's only junk. Apparently there is a device you can get for shaking up paints, but I don't know if you can hear that. There is a device you can get for shaking up modelling paints, but again, it's not something I can. So I watered that down, so I'm going to paint the cloak in contrast paints, which is sort of a brighter red. And I gave the sort of lighter red, the darker red underneath, time to dry overnight. So, but you know, it's going back to my project and everything. It'll be 5 years old this summer. It will be 5 years old as Lord of War and Heartache, but obviously it now has a new title, Tales from the Caravan. Although technically it is still Lord of War and Heartache, but Tales from the Caravan it's sort of taking it back to the beginning with Maximus as the main focus rather than the diplomat who was silent, because at least Maximus can talk. You know, because I am Maximus, I am his voice. But I wanted something a bit different. I wanted something a bit stand out. And the caravan concept, I think, has always been something I've, you know. And I get it. I know that some people might think, you know, that why have you chosen that? You know, why have you chosen that over other things? And I have whole documents and things written up about it that explains as to why I went with the path that I did. And you know, I understand that not everyone is open to. I respect that. I absolutely respect that. But at the same time, that would be cool. That would be amazing. We can definitely work something out there. Definitely work something out there. You know, I'd love to have a bit of live action, and I'm thinking of bringing Vespasian back into the mix. You know, getting back into being a Vespasian. As when, I don't know. But I think he deserves to come back because he was a part of the caravan. And he was a lot of fun to portray. He was a lot of fun to portray. And it also showed that I'm not afraid to put myself into a similar position as other, you know. I'm not afraid to step into such a role, you know. Sometimes you've got to be prepared to put yourself into the same position that is only fair. It is only fair, and I've stood by that. I have stood by that from day one of the idea. Excuse me. Sorry. Sorry, just got a touch of hay fever. I've kept the windows closed to try and keep everything controlled. Don't want me sneezing like a. But you know, And of course I did all my shout out videos. I did use another voice for them, not my own, because at the time I made them, my throat was sore, so I didn't want to actually. But you know, I have been. I mean, I could be going on about this all day, to be honest with you. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like that. It's been like that with my novel, the Maximite Guild, which is set in my universe and features Maximus not as the lead character. But I think because he's already a developed character, he is, you know, I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you've got to try and make characters rounded and three-dimensional, it's knowing just how much of them to make three-dimensional. You know, there is a balance to be reached. Yeah, I started to try and do it today, Amanda. I did start to try and record it, but I don't know what's going on. I struggled. I really did try and struggle. I didn't try and struggle. I did struggle. I don't quite know what because I'm trying to respond to you in real time in your video. So what I will do is, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The video you sent me. So I'm working on it, but at the same time I'm kind of trying to work out all the timings. And no, I know you're not, and you wouldn't, and you certainly haven't. But you know, I've been trying to. I've been juggling a lot lately. I have been juggling a lot, not literally. My God, the money I can make as a juggler. Yeah, well, what I'll probably do is I'll do it as audio. What I'll do is I'll watch your video and record my section as audio as you speak. So, you know, you'll just get the direct responses. And so I will have to go through your video a number of times and stop and start again and correct myself. But I'll get there. I will get there. You will get it. I promise. At the same time, you know, I've been focusing on Tales of the Caravan as well. Some might, I mean, I get it. Some people might say I'm obsessive about the entire idea that I've got for it. And who knows? Enthusiastic is the term I'd use. I mean, I'm passionate, as you know. I'm incredibly passionate about what I create. A lot of hard work has gone into it, and no, that's absolutely fine, Amanda. I can work with it. Don't you worry. I will figure it out. I'm very good at that. Yeah, but the issue and it's not an issue with your video. It's an issue with my things, you know. Yeah, you know, but I sometimes think that people might think I have ulterior motives, and because I'm male, but I shouldn't be like that. I really shouldn't be like that. It's just a struggle, You try and be sincere. You try and be truthful and honest. And I mean, as I say, yeah, exactly. I mean, you put five years of your life and soul into an idea, and the thing is, I'm not I won't ever give up. You won't, you're not gonna. You're not just gonna see me stop. There will be times when, I might be silent or sort of out the loop, but that's because I'll be focusing on things. When I say things, I mean things, if that makes sense. Yeah. The weird thing is, I never really know where my interest in the idea for my project came along from. I just keep calling it my project because it is. It's my pet project, I mean, it all started because of COVID. I needed something to do, but it filled the gap because I couldn't go out. So, but I think the main concept of the caravan came about because I thought, well, I've always been fascinated by it. Isn't it amazing? I can't, I can talk about it, but I can't bring myself to actually say what it is because I feel like there's a stigma about it. That's the thing. People. And it's sad, really, because, the whole concept is just purely art. It is art. And that's where it all stems from, performing arts. But, I mean, I've adapted and changed so much to make it accessible, the whole concept accessible to people. And, it the number of times it broke my heart, my heart has felt broken over it. And, I am absolutely grateful to everyone who helps me out and supports me, but I found myself in situations where this is it. But even then, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I really do believe in it, and no, it's not. But let's try. Sorry, I'm just gonna grab a drink. See, I don't even have to get out of my seat to get a drink. Just some cola. Just some cola. But yeah, this is it. This is it. I mean, since joining Tumblr, I've some of the ideas have picked up traction. I have had interest, and I'm grateful to everyone who reaches out to me. But and I've even. I mean, let me show you. Let me show you. Video screen capture. Okay, so you'll see me twice. Whilst I just minimise my, and we'll go over to Tumblr. So I'm going to read this out. And I don't know why I was trying to make the picture of me bigger. Whilst there we go. So, I'm actually going to read this out live on screen, so in real time. Don't mind the sidebar, but I think I can open this up. There we go. So this is my Tumblr blog. So here we go. Collaboration call out. What is Tales of the Caravan? This is a tale of secrets hidden beneath spectacle. The Caravan is travelling performance troupe, but beneath the music, dance and storytelling lies espionage, forbidden knowledge and power struggles that will shape the fate of nations. Every member of the Caravan serves a purpose, whether in the spotlight or behind the scenes. Some perform to entertain, to deceive, to mislead. Others guard, protect, steal, or uncover the truth hidden within the shifting sands of politics and war. Who can join? Roles available. Whether you want to be in the spotlight or behind the curtain, there is a role for you. Performers. Belly dancers. Mesmerising audiences while hiding secrets. Sideshow hosts, performers. Illusions, feats of wonder or magical tricks. High society and political intrigue. Nobility, lords, ladies and figures of influence. Guests and audience members. Wealthy travellers, traders and spies in disguise. Shadow and deception. Rogues, thieves, pickpockets, spies and informants. Merchants. Some are simple traders, others smuggle secrets with their wares. Behind the scenes. Encampment workers and backstage crew, helping the caravan function. Artisans. Artists, jewellers, inventors, scholars. Servants and personal assistants. From scholars to archivists, those who keep the knowledge. Magic, medicine and military. Healers and mages. Masters of the arcane and the healing arts. Peacekeepers. Elite guard. Protecting the caravan from threats. I should add that the peacekeepers also protect the desert realm. They're actually the elite of the Ondarian monarchy, so they also protect the palace of Ondar City itself as well. City Watch Guards. The forces keeping order or corruption in the cities. They're not necessarily 100% kosher. Not that that's a term I really would use. This is not just a dance-based project. If you prefer to voice a noble, a rogue, a scholar, or a guard, or any other character, there is a place for you. Each role can be developed collaboratively. Tell me what excites you, and we'll shape something that fits your strengths. Here we go. This is the important part. Why belly dance? Belly dancing in Tales of the Caravan is not about seduction. It's about storytelling. It's a tactical, artistic and historical element that fits organically into the world. It is used to distract, to mislead, to mesmerise. It is a form of hidden communication and a way to carry messages through movement. It has a deep cultural significance. I'll start that again. It has a deep cultural significance within this fantasy world, just like the bardic traditions in medieval Europe or kabuki in Japan. This is not, and I repeat, this is not about fetishization. This is about culture, character depth, and immersive world building. And what's in it for you? A chance to showcase your talent in a unique fantasy project, networking and collaboration with other creatives, a portfolio piece for voice actors, performers and artists, and the joy of being part of something bigger than a single creator. Then it goes on to say, how do you join? Well, basically you contact me. You can find all my details on my YouTube channel, where you can DM me. You can also find my email address, which is also in my YouTube bio. And of course I now include frequently asked questions, because I get asked these questions a lot actually on Tumblr. So is this a paid project? No, this is a community driven collaboration. Everyone involved participates voluntarily, including myself, and there is definitely no financial gain on my end. This is entirely amateur. I do everything off my own back. And if that ever changes, as I say here, contributors would be compensated accordingly, because obviously I could at some point reach out to professionals if I wanted to. And of course, do I have to play a dancer to join? No. While belly dance is an important part of the caravan's performance aspect, there are many non-dance roles available, from nobles and guards to thieves, mages and scholars, but there's also servants, backstage workers, encampment workers, sideshow entertainers, tavern workers, you name it, it's there, it's available. Just let me know what you want to portray. And then the next question leads into, why belly dance? Isn't that just a sexualized trope? And I go on to say, absolutely not. Belly dance in Tales of the Caravan is a form of storytelling and deception, not seduction. It is used strategically like court jesters using humour to hide messages, or actors in ancient societies being used as spies. So there is a huge scope of storytelling for this. You know, it's how you interpret the characters, it's how you interpret your character, how you want them to play out. You know, this is why we work together, this is why we collaborate, this is why we make it the way it is. You know, it is imperative to me that we get this right. It is imperative to me that we do it right. We treat it with the utmost respect. Now, I've never actually said this on a live stream before in this manner, but it's got to that point now where I have to say what I've been meaning to say, and this is truth, this is honesty, this is openness, this is transparency. This is as transparent as I can get, you know. And then of course it goes on to say, do I need acting performance experience? Not at all. This is open to beginners and experienced performers. And yes, you can create your own characters. Let me know what you want me to create, and we can work on it together, because I want everyone to enjoy the process. I want everyone to be involved. I want everyone to like what they see, what they, you know. I just want everyone to have a good time, basically, and enjoy the process. And then obviously once it gets uploaded to YouTube, they're fully credited, as you know, those who have collaborated with me before. And yeah, just seeing your comment on the chat, yeah, if you wanted to play a librarian in the story, I mean, we have scholars, we have archaeologists, we have historians in the world, librarians. I can create it, I can work with it, we can use it. It's absolutely fine. Anyway, so I'm just going to, but you know, I've spent so long in this world that I've built, and become so passionate about what we have created, because it's not just me. I mean, Amanda, you know, as you said, you've got the family Lynette that you can voice. Rose, I mean, you've got Iris and steampunk, yes. Cyberpunk, I have to work out a way to try and, because it's a fantasy world. Never say never, but it is something I'd have to try and box clever with. But with a fantasy world, anything goes. Exactly, Jane. You've also got Iris and Rosea, your two vampire characters, your noble women. So they're always, you know, anyone who's ever collaborated with me will know that I do not force anything upon anybody. It is not in my nature, for a start. I do not agree with it. I don't think people should be made to. The one thing I always find difficult to do is when people say, well, do you have a character you think I would fit? Well, I'm not asked, you know, that is not how I work. I want people to, well, as I said, never say never, Amanda, because stranger things has happened. You know, in a fantasy world where anything goes, it can happen. That's why I went for fantasy over sci-fi, because with fantasy the rules can be bent. Oh yeah, I mean, when you look at Maximus, he is steampunk. Maximus is steampunk. There is steampunk technology in this world. I mean, the Sentinel project, which we never really followed up on, being created by Grand Mage Arton, that is very much steampunk in origin, because the Sentinels are steam powered, like robots powered with magic. So, oh yeah, I actually had concept art and I actually created concept art. When I find it, I'll share it. But I do have Sentinel artwork for it. Oh yeah, yeah. Now, white. There we go, a bit of white paint. Yeah, because I always sort of create concept ideas first. Yeah, that's why I went anything goes really in my world, because I think that makes it more interesting. Exactly, that was one of my inspirations for the Sentinels concepts. You know, the difference being is the Sentinels themselves are war machines. They're prototype war machines. Which I want to paint that with white first, because I want to make that a bit lighter than the other metal. So I want to paint over those keys with white. There we go. But you know, it's all part of a bigger picture. It's all part of a bigger picture. I honestly wish I could just encourage more people on board. I mean, I've done everything. I mean, I've created videos, I've done shout outs, I've developed a whole Discord server based around it. You know, I've worked my fingers to the bone to try and bring it to life. It's not been easy. I'm not going to deny that. It's not been easy. You know, because I'm not an established. Because as you know, I am not established. I don't have the influence of the bigger channels. I've always been a small channel with a very small community, and as I say, I've always been grateful to those who have supported me. You know, it really does mean a lot to me. But sometimes it doesn't always work out that way, but you do what you can, you carry on, you do what you can, because when it's something that's so dear to your heart, you don't want to give it up. You want to just yeah, and I don't resent that. I don't resent that, because I also think to myself, being small in number means also I don't have to. Oh dear, I can tidy that up. Then there's bits and pieces happening here that I can tidy up afterwards. You know, I don't have to worry about. I can put out what I want to put out. That's the thing. I can create what I want to create and not have to constantly appease the algorithm, you know. And granted, I've never really been driven by the algorithm anyway. See, that's the thing. That's the thing now, because I'm no longer considering myself an ASM artist. I'm now literally. But I will say this here now. Just because I don't refer to myself as being an ASM artist doesn't mean the doors have closed. No, ASM artists are still very welcome to be part of my world. It's just that personally, I no longer. I've evolved. I think that's the term I can think of. You know, I've evolved into something a bit more universal that everyone can experience. You know. Sort of access. That's the term I'd use. You know, I've made myself more sort of accessible to those who wouldn't consider ASMR. And I think to try and sort of. Well, let me put it this way. It would be absolutely wrong of me to turn around and say no more ASMR, because it's always been a big part of my life since YouTube came around, and I have a lot of good friends in the ASMR community, a lot of wonderful friends who I've made in the community. It's just that from my perspective, as a content creator, personally it doesn't serve me directly. It no longer meets it no longer meets what I need from it as a content creator. But it still has a place in my world. It still very much has a place in my world. For example, with Gwyn's portrayal of Cleo. Very gentle, very softly spoken. Yeah, exactly. You adapt. That's the secret. You adapt. And I've done a lot of adapting since 2024. I mean, I've been through a lot of frustration as well. I've been through a lot of. I mean, I'm not going to deny the fact that I went through a whole time where I thought I'd been blacklisted. You know, I'm not going to ignore that period, because that was a very dark period of time for me. And it's something I need to acknowledge. It's a feeling I need to acknowledge and fight. You know, not so much fight against, but say, yes, I did have that feeling. Yes, I know it's not true, but it was just the way I. It was just the way I felt at the time. Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, I create a lot of my own art. I create my own art. Everything you see that I has been created via GIMP. don't like that. It's basically a free rival to Photoshop. I'm not a fan of the fact they call it GIMP. It just doesn't sit with me. But that's what they called it, the GNU Image Mapping Program. It's just that the fact that its acronym is GIMP doesn't. But Photoshop for me is far too expensive. But when you consider how much artwork and scenery and characters I've created over the years, the fact that the Discord server now has sections on entire cities speaks volumes. I could sit here lamenting all day, and going on about the same things, and I have done in the past. It gets boring even for me. But I seriously do often wish that people would at least take the moment to consider what I'm creating, consider the roles I've built and the world I've built. Because sometimes all it needs is to step out of the sort of the mainstream and go into the I'm not a fan of Photoshop. I mean, I use what is it I use? I use Filmora Wondershare for all my content editing. And I actually prefer Wondershare Filmora to DaVinci. I tried using DaVinci, but it kept crashing on me, whereas Filmora is much more user friendly. I know there's YouTubers out there who swear by DaVinci, but at the same time, I mean, the other thing I'll say is I have noticed that a lot of the community that I was part of has sort of moved on to different things themselves, and I don't see a lot of the names that they used to on here creating. A lot of them have moved to new projects and things, and that's okay. That is okay. Yeah. There we go. I mean, you know, I will say the one thing, I have been fortunate in getting some of the concept of my project done. I mean, in the past, in Chapter 7, Jodie Marie played Arundella. Jodie Marie ASMR played Arundella. In Chapter 9, Ermila Dolce played Alina. In Chapter 13, you had Exploring ASMR as Cassandra. And all the videos, and I was originally going to have Miss T ASMR as Shy, but she had to withdraw. She was going to be in Chapter 7, and that's when Jodie Marie stepped in as Arundella. And then, of course, we had the main caravan storyline that sort of finished, tied up all the loose ends and brought everything together. But paved the way for the reboot Tales from the Caravan, because, and the reason I say that is because I honestly believe that you can do so much more with a travelling caravan of performers, because it actually sort of opens doors to ideas and concepts and characters. So, you know, the potential is there. The potential is huge. It's just, and the thing is, I'm not looking to convince people. It's not me trying to convince. Exactly. You know, and I'm not trying to convince people to join. I mean, technically I am, but at the same time, I'm also not. Even if people just sort of reached out and said, "Hey, seen what you're doing, would love to know a bit more." You know, I've been very open, very honest, very accessible, but it's been the amount of radio silence that's been the hardest for me. I think, you know, it's honestly been the radio silence, as the saying goes, because when you pour your heart and soul into something, only to get no, you know, barely any response apart from good friends, you know, even Miss Chic has played Sagira, another dancer character in the story, in The Last Hurrah, which was the finale. You know, as I say, good friends. It's just, you know, no. you just sometimes end up questioning yourself, you know. And those who know me on social media know I question myself a lot. My own integrity, my own honesty, my own truth. Just checking to see. You know, I'm not. The thing is, I'm not expecting. You know, I never expected big names to join. You know, I wouldn't. I mean, let's face it. Yeah, that's exactly where I learnt about radio silence. You know, it's difficult. It is heartbreak, you know, because when you're looking at collaboration, really you're looking at sort of, you know, I've even had, I mean, I've actually had at least a couple of ASM artists in the past come to me and say, yeah, I'd like to collaborate with you, but how much are you going to pay me? It's collaboration. It's no, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You know, and I won't name names, but I have had people say that to me, and I'm horrified that even. But you know, it's been the wider, and as I was gonna say, I didn't, you know, I never went in with the expectation of big names joining me like Amy Kane, GB, Agenia. You know, just anyone who really wants to take part. You know, it's not. You know, it's that the whole point of it really is to tell a story, to have people on board and enjoy it, and. Be creative. You know, life doesn't always work out the way you anticipate. And, you know, it just, it's disheartening. It's discouraging. Which is why I am grateful to everyone who has helped me to bring much of my world to life and much of my it wasn't anyone that you know, it wasn't anyone massive, you know, it wasn't anyone overly famous, shall we say, you know. They didn't have the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, but they were monetized and far bigger than me at the time. I mean, you know, and the thing is, I know I sound bitter. I'm not bitter. That would be very wrong of me to be bitter. But you know, I've been through a lot in the last 5 years. My channel has evolved and changed so much. just sort of, at the moment I'm just sort of using a contrast paint to pick out the areas I want to focus on next. Contrast paints also help hide all manner of mistakes. But yeah, see, this is it. You know, I'm not an influencer. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. And, you know, I am who I am. I am first and foremost a creator, someone who just wants to tell a story. You know, it shouldn't be about algorithms and, you know, and sponsorships. And at the end of the day, I remember when YouTube, I'll just put this to one side to dry. I remember when YouTube started, how it was a community. It was, everyone got involved, everyone created, everyone shared, everyone, you know, dreamt. Trevor, hello! Good to see you, sir. Cheers. It's only cola, but you know, I've been yeah, it's actually going to go, this beard, or at least be trimmed anyway, because it is getting a bit unruly and it's getting warmer here in the UK. So but yeah, I'm kind of, you've caught me sort of on a, yeah, I'm painting a Dark Angel Space Marine. The lighting isn't too bad at the moment, so it's kind of drying at the moment because but I've been talking about, whilst I've been painting, I've been talking about my project, the Tales from the Caravan. Well, that yeah, because it is Eurovision soon, isn't it? But yeah, I've been talking about sort of, because I kind of don't refer to it as, sorry, I'm just checking something. A message came up on my, there we go, that's it. A message came up on my OBS, so I just want to because I kind of don't refer to it as Lord of War and Heartache anymore, because that, it is a bit of a mouthful. Tales of the Caravan rolls off much more. You want sweet? Primarch of the Dark Angels. There are photos I can send you, better photos than this. But yeah, basically a space knight. Joy to paint. If you want a model to paint, I recommend this one. Mind you, it cost me £45 and it's all plastic, but oh, it's such a sweet thing to paint. The detailing is absolutely exquisite. Anyway, yeah, sort of talking about all my my content and how everything's evolved, and the Maximite Guild novel, of course, which I don't know if I'll ever get it published, but a chap can dream. But yeah, it's all good. I mean, I'm on Tumblr now, so I was reading about I was going through all the collaboration call out, which is very clear, very open and very honest, because since day one of the project, I've been very open and honest about everything I want to do with it, the directions I want to take it. And I was saying before you arrived, Trevor, that a lot of what's kind of hurt me in a way is the greater radio silence from wider communities. Yeah, it's really good. I've really made a lot of, I have made a lot of incredible progress on Tumblr since joining. So, I've found mostly voice actors, but obviously I'm still looking for performing artists as well to join me, amateur preferably, but the doors are open to anyone, and obviously I'm very open to yeah, I've just been through so much, and so, as I said earlier, you work your fingers to the bone. You put your heart and soul into everything, and everything just seems to. I'll get there. I will get there. I can't. Just thinking what next colour to use. I'll use Armageddon Dust next. So. Yeah, it's. I kind of feel that way. I mean, I've been shouted out in the past for thinking that and being told where's the evidence, but I mean, it's all. I mean, I look at my subscription page, and there's so much spit painting, ear licking, mouth sounds, stomach rumbling sounds. I've evolved beyond that. I'll be honest, I feel like I've evolved beyond that myself, personally. It just need to make some paint colours. And everyone who remains an ASM artist, who still remains true, like you, Rosea, like you, Amanda, who remains true to the original concept, and Miss Chic as well, who remains true to the original concept. I honestly continue to support you. You are dear friends to me. I thank you, because all three of you have helped me with Lord of War and Heartache and everything like that. It's just that it seems the wider community, and you are. I'm second gen. well, I was second gen. I'm now a voice actor, amateur voice actor over ASMR. Doesn't mean I still don't use ASMR tones of voice. It's just that, you know, I just. I mean, I never went in thinking I could change the world. Maybe I did when I started. I thought, I could change the world and, you know, make it big and get monetized really quickly. I mean, I thought I'd get 1,000 subscribers in the first few months. I mean, here I am 5 years later, and I'm still way below 1,000 subscribers. But that's okay. That is okay. I mean, I've made a lot of amazing friends in 5 years. I mean, Trevor is one. You know, Trevor, you Rosea, you Amanda, Miss Chic, Julie ASMR, formerly Sleeping Artist, Whisperwind. The thing is, I've kind of lost touch with a lot of people, and I guess that's just how it happens, really. You know, you can't keep up with everyone forever. It is what it. Well, I don't like this term, but it is what it is. You know, I don't like using that term, but. You have to accept that times change and situations change and things change, and I accept it. You know, I've changed a lot in 5 years. It's just that, you know, and the thing is, it's not like I was ever trying to compete. You know, there was nothing to compete with. And I wouldn't ever dream of trying to compete with anybody, but I just decided to go my own way and create my own thing and build my own world. And just going to let that dry. There's a fan here, you see, that's exactly, it is what it is until it is what it wasn't. And that is how it. 3 years. That's an achievement. That is an honest achievement in the community. You know, I've seen ASMR channels come and go. You know, they start sort of small, and they sort of create 1 or 2 videos and then they just fade away. And I've seen that a lot more recently in the community. I think the reason I haven't sort of faded away is because I'm a stubborn bastard. I'm stubborn, basically. Very stubborn, you know. But yeah, it is the right direction. Going with voice acting. Exactly. You know, I mean, Amanda has said that she will voice the family Lynette again for me. And of course, Rosea portrays Jane. Rosea, her namesake, Iris, the twin sister of Rosea. So there's and Miss Sheik, of course, and of course Guinevere Pendragon, who voices Cleo. I must send her a message. I have fallen by the wayside. I feel awful. I have fallen by the wayside on a lot of things, but it's not that people remain dear to my heart who have collabed with me, and as I mean, it's incredible when I look through my subscription page, how many non-ASMR contents I have on there. I mean, I've got paranormal videos, I've got video game videos, I've got Warhammer Warhammer painting videos and things like that. It's oh, cool. Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. And I might dabble still in the odd sort of seasonal collaboration as well. I just wouldn't refer to it as ASMR, even though ASMR artists would be invited to be involved. We'll work something out. There's still things I can do that have ASMR elements without it being directly referred to as ASMR. I don't think sometimes you need to actually call it ASMR to have it considered ASMR. There's a lot you can do that's it sounds sneaky, it is sneaky, but there's a lot of things that I think have been, I won't say ignored, but not considered. And I think a lot of people have missed out on ideas that the sort of take it back to its roots. That's the thing. I think a lot of the bigger channels have forgotten the roots of ASMR. That's the problem. It's all about the algorithm and sponsorship, and I'm sure I'll get called out for it and criticised, and sure, okay. This is my opinion. This is not fact. This is purely my opinion. I don't force it upon anybody. This is just the way I see it. I'm not gonna turn around and suddenly say, well, what I say is right, because why? What would I have to gain from that? All I'm saying is that from my perspective, from my personal experience of having exactly, see, I started with ASMR when it was the Whisper community, not as a content creator but as a viewer, when it was stage 1, generation 1 Whisper community, and that's where I came in. I was there from the start. And I can't even remember the name of... I can barely remember the names of any. I mean, you had Heather Feather, you had Whisper Crystal, you had Whispering in Blue, you had Lilium Candidum, you had... who else did you have in the very early days? Veni Vidi Volpes, Dolly Whispers, they've all disappeared. The ones that have really survived are Gentle Whispering. She's one. GB. She's one of the early ones as well. Frivy is actually Generation 2. I believe Frivy came in around Generation 2. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm going back to sort of like the very early days of YouTube. We're talking 2007, 2008. I mean, YouTube started in 2005. So we are literally going back to sort of you know, when Bob Ross wasn't even considered the grandfather of ASMR. That's how far back we're going here, you know. It's incredible, really, to think how it's evolved, but at the same time, how much of it has sort of unevolved, you know. It's sort of, I think in a way, to a degree, ASMR, I mean, you know, there's a lot of ASMR that many people still consider to be sexualized, and I think that's the big problem. It got hijacked at a time at one point where it was considered sexual, and you know, and of course you have ASMR artists who have done things like OnlyFans and things like that, and you know, it got a bit out of hand, in my opinion. Again, just my opinion. And you know, I don't knock people for doing things like OnlyFans. It just doesn't hold any appeal to me personally. That's the big thing. Mainstream trends have kicked in, and I always felt that I wanted to stay out of the mainstream. I'm just going to let that dry. I think that's the thing. I always went against the grain. I always felt like I was going against the grain. I wanted to be... I did toy with the name Maverick ASMR at one point, because I wanted to be the one that kind of stood out against the... But yeah, it sort of became a bit... I think that's the thing. It is mainstream, and being a voice, now considering myself a voice actor and not an ASMR artist, I personally feel that for my concepts, there's so much more I can do. Yeah. Twitch is one of the big things. I mean, you have I think Twitch is where a lot of the problems, and I call them problems, again, just my opinion, no, and I've heard it's not worth becoming monetized because the whole process around it is sorry, just cleaning off my brush in an unconventional manner. Yeah, and I've got to the point now where I consider monetization more trouble than it's worth, from what I understand, from what I've heard through the proverbial grapevine. It's complicated. But there's always, but you know, I remain sort of chipper and honest and open, and I don't expect anyone to, you know, adhere to what I say, because yes, Miss Chloe and Ruby True, yes, I am subscribed to them on YouTube more than Twitch, and there's also who else? Southern Belle. I will admit she's very good. She's very good at what she does. Southern Belle ASMR. I'm just doing some tidying up. Ruby True I like because she does a lot of meditation. Who else? Christy Schuyler, she's good. She is good. I appreciate her presence. As do I also. The thing is, I'm not the sort of person who comments or gets involved in the chat. I kind of watch. It sounds worse than it is, but I just don't have the courage to. It's ironic. I come on here, I do live streams, I interact with my chat, but I can't pluck up the courage to post a comment or join the live stream chat or you know, to say I've been a long time viewer and I appreciate what they do. I just can't do it. I don't know why. I can't reach out to them. And I think that's all part of the fact that I've never been able to reach out to people regarding interest in my collaborations. Who's the other one? There's another one as well. Which one is she? Who am I thinking of? She's in my... What's the other one I like? The live streams. I'm trying to find it now. Funny, I was watching her earlier. A playback of her live stream, that is, not her actual live stream. I can't remember her name. Well, I will most honestly do that. Yeah, I think it's also my social, you know, my being autistic. I also struggle with, you know, I think I also worry about if people have perceptions or concepts about me, you know, because I never know what's been said in the wider community. And I know I shouldn't worry about that sort of thing, but it does play on my mind, you know, have people, you know, I get paranoid, you know, have people said, oh, don't go with him, he's weird, he's got weird ideas, that sort of thing, and you know, it does honestly worry me, you know, because at the end of the day, I'm just me. You know, I can't be anyone else. Do you know, I really can't find who I'm looking for on this screen. They were here, and now they're not. Well, that's. Yeah, I think what also worries me is I think I'm going to end up somehow talking about my project and, you know, fearing of overloading with talk about what I do and what I create, because I've always struggled, you know, I've always been. You know, it's so irritating. I can't find who I'm looking for. It's like all of the videos have suddenly just vanished. Oh, there it is. Chrissy ASMR. That's it. Chrissy ASMR. So I've just found who I'm looking for. But that's the thing, you know, because I also info dump. I have this natural urge to info dump, and you know, I don't do it on purpose. But I also. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I understand people don't want to hear my ideas, don't want to, you know. I mean, I'm eccentric, I'm unique. You know, sometimes I get ideas above my station, but at the same time, I wouldn't. I think the other thing is I also panic about saying the wrong thing. You know, I worry about offending people. I worry about upsetting people. You know, I guess I am sensitive. Like my teeth, I'm sensitive. I should be laughing at that, but I'm not. This is not going the way I was hoping it would. Not the stream, I mean this model. There's my iron breaker out. There's my iron breaker. Metallic paint. You know, I think I also fear about making it all about me, you know. I mean, that's what these live streams are for, I guess, making it all about me, even though I don't like making it all about me. You know, because I'm not. I mean, I have been called an attention seeker in the past, but sometimes when you've spent your life fighting to be heard and seen and accepted and understood, that's all you want. You know, you just want to be heard and accepted and understood and welcomed and for the world to tell you no. It honestly hurts. It honestly hurts. Because, you know, you spend your entire life Yeah, I would do that. I would lurk. I just... Oh, that's how I'd start. Oh no. Right. Okay. I've just got to go get some clean painting water, so I will be right back. And I'm back. There we go. Yeah, that is true. I've worked with a lot of neurotypicals who say the wrong things. But yeah, I guess I'm just... I mean, yeah, people would say I'm sensitive. I am a sensitive. Still contaminants. But I think I'm going to change the brush because I think the brush itself is contaminated. Metallic paint. So I want to go for one. Isn't so... No, that's no good. Oh, that's a good one. That'll do. Sorry about that, but you know, and you know, I never know how people will react when I tell them what the concept of my project is about. You know, I mean, I've had a lot of I've had a lot of judgment in my life, and I guess I should be used to it by now, but at the same time it still hurts. It does still hurt to be judged for something you know. I don't know. I mean, I'm 40 years old. I turned 41 this summer, and I don't know why I still let things like that bother me. I guess I'm just human. Well, I am. You know, I guess it just. Does it make me self-centered? I don't know. Does it make me arrogant? I don't know. You know, it just makes me ask so many questions. Too much. Ah. Here's me just trying to make my way in the world whilst others struggle. You know, I struggle to make my way in the world whilst others just seem to. Well, this is it. You know, and there's as I say, I've set up an entire Discord dedicated to the lore and everything, so people can always join my Discord server if they want to know more about it. But it's the fact that, you know, that there's a whole concept behind the story. I mean, yeah, that's initially what I tell them, but if they want to know more, they can. I've got documentation and I've got all the paper. You know, I've written paperwork and documentation and everything that can give them information on how to get involved. They can take it from there if they want. I mean, heck, as I said earlier, I've created entire videos about it to help them know more about the project. It's, as I say, I've poured my heart and soul into it all. And some people have said to me, well, why do you have to have that element in your story? You know, why is it that way? Well, it's unique. It makes everything. It makes the whole concept stand out. You know, it creates a whole perspective, a whole. I mean, initially it was because I believed that the concept behind the story could be proven to be a legitimate ASMR trigger. Well, it's kind of evolved beyond that now. It's no longer. It's no longer just that. It's not. You know, it's just. Yeah, it's. I shouldn't get like this. I mean, you know, seriously, I shouldn't get like this. I shouldn't let myself get like this, because at the end of the day, it's just a story. It's just a story. It's just something that I mean, I maybe I care about it too much. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But sorry. I shouldn't get like this. I really shouldn't get like this. Seriously, I should not get like this at all. This is not what my viewers should expect from a live stream. Me getting like this, because stupid, really. It's maybe I'm stupid. Maybe that's what it is. You know, maybe that's it. You know, maybe I'm the fool. April Fools may have been and gone, but maybe the joke's on me. I don't know. I honestly, I can't figure it out. You know. Well, I am planning my second novel. I haven't even published the first one. I don't know if I'll ever publish the first one, but I'm already looking at writing the second one before the first one has even gone anywhere. it's going to be set in Avalon. Well, it's going to start off in the monarchy, and it's going to go, whereas the first novel goes west, the second novel is going to go east. The desert realm continues to play a big role in the story, but this is going to be set in the Kingdom of Avalon, which is inspired by the Knights of the Round Table. So it's going to be, it's going to feature all the characters from the first novel, including Maximus, who remains a supporting character. He is very much the supporting. Some might say the comic relief. You know, if they've read the book, he is very much his own person in the story. You know, he founded the Maximi Guild, but he doesn't take a lot of interest in it. He doesn't really care about it in the way that you'd think the founder of such a organisation would. Not to say he doesn't care, it's just that... But then of course we've got the Discord, which I can bring up. I will introduce you to the Discord server. Let me bring over the Discord. So, here we go. Let me introduce you and welcome you to the Ondarian Monarchy. This is the Discord server, and I will probably turn this into a video. So anyway, so we've got a few members already. I mean, we've got Rose, of course, Amanda, a couple of other, including the most recent member, Death Rolls Dice, who is very welcome indeed. So basically, upper echelons of society is the bit that I'm not sure if everyone can see when they're on here, but it's basically where I do all the updates. So this is work in progress. This is basically in the announcements channel. Works in progress. City of Gebelra is the most recent. So then, of course, we've got the gateway, which is where, when you join, you say hello, and of course the welcome message, flag of the Ondarian Monarchy, created by me in my favourite colours. That is actually purple. So it's purple, orange, white, with a hint of gold. And every city in this world has its own flag. I'm just going to pause the music because obviously we have no, that's Tumblr. It's Tumblr. So obviously we have I'm going to raise this up, the introduction video to the Ondarian Monarchy. This is one of my favourite videos I've ever made, so we'll play this. So that is basically what welcomes you to... what's that? Oh, there are no upcoming events. Probably because I am trying to do something. I'm trying to do something that isn't on this, that isn't on that screen. Anyway, so that's the welcome. Not quite the welcome message, but it's a little glimpse of the world. And yes, it uses real places, but even real places can represent the places of your dreams. Then, of course, we go on to NPC characters. We start at the top. Some of these, my friend Graham has created some what I call non-player characters. I've just called them NPCs because I guess in a way we're taking on roles as well. So then, of course, we go with the first NPC character portrayed by me, Maximus Volkov. Now, obviously, I can do his voice. See, that's the thing. When I do it at full volume, his voice comes to me naturally. When I have to do it quietly, it's almost impossible for me to do this voice quietly. And of course, once I've recorded his voice, I have to lower it by 20. Because to get that deep, rich voice, let me give you a little demonstration. So let me get up Audacity. I will stay in character because this is how I want to do it. So, I'm gonna record as Maximus. So, here we go. This is me, recording as Maximus Volkov, doing the voice in my natural term, but with the Bristolian accent that he's known to have, even though technically Bristol is not a real place in the world of Lord of War and Arctic. But it's just the accent, because it gives Maximus that deep, rich, menacing voice that brings him to life. I always felt that he should have this tone of voice to give him life, to give him energy, to give him power. Now, let's stop this. And I will lower the tone. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to play it back first to make sure it all works. But I guarantee it's going to sound good. So, obviously, back into my real voice. Let's play this back. So, here we go. This is me, recording as Max. Okay, obviously I've got a fan on. I wouldn't normally record with a fan on in the background. I would normally record in silence, but this is just an example. So we go to Effects, Pitch, and change to 20. And I'm actually going to delete that bit. Here we go.
So, here we go. This is me, recording as Maximus Volkov, doing the voice in my natural term, but with the Bristolian accent that he's known to have, even though technically Bristol is not a real place in the world of Lord of War and Arctic. But it's just the accent, because it gives Maximus that deep, rich, menacing voice that brings him to life. I always felt that he should have this tone of voice to give him life, to give him energy, to give him power. Now, let's stop this. And I will lower the tone. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to play it back first to make sure it all works. But I guarantee it's going to sound good.
So, yeah, I have to lower the pitch of my voice to be Maximus. But that's what he sounds like before and after I record him. So every voice that I do, I change the pitch of the audio because obviously this is my natural voice, speaking voice, so I'm not going to save that. So yes, he is actually inspired by me, he's based on me. He is ancient, of course, he's a vampire. There's other elements to him that I've not revealed here. You know, there's secrets about Maximus that even he doesn't fully understand, so he doesn't reveal them. He's 5'11", which is basically my height. He's got the same eye colour as me, red hair, because he's literally based upon me. And his costume is pretty much based upon the steampunk costume I have. But he's actually the complete opposite of me. So this is Maximus as portrayed by me. So, you know, and of course his signature line is "Ha! Quacha prowlin' dintoy." Then of course we go down to Rafik, who is my most softly spoken character. He is... Some would say he was slimy, but he's not slimy. He's smooth, sophisticated, unique. And of course Rafik is taken down to a pitch of -15. Maximus is a pitch of -20. Rafik is a pitch of -15. Then of course there's Gideon, who basically kind of speaks in my voice but taken down to a pitch of 15. So he sounds like me, but with a slightly deeper voice. Obviously Graham's added a few extra things there. Arundella, who was actually portrayed by Jodie Marie ASMR in Chapter 7 of The Lord of War and Heartache. So she is our first dancer character, or she was our very first dancer character in the storyline. But of course I've got original artwork for her. That is not why am I looking over there? The camera's there. That is not Jodie Marie. That is original artwork created by me. Then Paldrock, who is Maximus's personal bodyguard. He wears armor. He wears a suit of armor. Although in the most recent video, we finally see his actual face. In the most recent video that he appears in. Obviously, Rain was added as well. Then, of course, Maximus's father, Lord Volkov. So, a lot of these characters are voiced by me, unless I say otherwise. Volkov, most of them are voiced between pitch -15 and -20. Apart from Paldrock and General Jericho, who are taken down to pitch -30. So they have deeper voices than other characters. Bidsvold Boris, who is Volkov's second in command and masked, he has a slight... I've given him a slight accent. I wanted him to have a indistinguishable accent. Again, he's taken down to -15, but he has his own personality, his own distinct tone of voice. Yeah, you sort of develop a tone, don't you? You sort of develop with a character, you sort of develop a way of speaking, a personality, reality, as it were. And then, of course, our next female character, Cleo, as voiced by the lovely Guinevere Pendragon. Beautifully voiced, I should add. And that, of course, is Cleo. She is a private investigator. And, of course, there's Trajan, who is voiced by me. He is somewhat unlucky in a number of ways. Yeah, accent. I kind of just develop accents, I guess. I kind of picture the character in my head, and if I feel they have an accent, I kind of just create one, you know. Jericho. Now, this is the one that's minus pitch, but I also call his voice the throat killer. I can't do him very often.
Because he talks like that, my lord. We must form a committee.
You know, I can't do that for very long because it really does hurt the vocal cords. So I tend, if I can help it, not to write for General Jericho very often.
Because I can't do long-term conversations using this voice. Because it hurts my throat too much to do it all the time.
So, and of course, I created obviously a character introduction sheet for Rose, as played by Rosea, and of course for her twin sister Iris as well. They are identical twins, and they're both vampires. And as you can see in the background of Rose, the wonderful imagery using Sims, which is genius. Some more information about Arendella's adopted mother. Some of these aren't, some of these are. Most of the things that I've included are the introduction sheets that I've worked with. And then, of course, we have Corvus, leader of the Shadow Court, who speaks like this. He speaks like this. And, of course, I lower his voice to -15 again. Then, of course, that's Corvus. Orion. I've never really worked out Orion's voice. His is probably very close to Paldrock's, but at level 20 instead of level 30. Now, Arabella Hogg, she hasn't appeared in any of my videos, but I can tell you this, she is actually the lead character of my novel, The Maximites. Only one person has read the novel, or they're still reading the novel. I'm waiting to hear back from them. I know they're enjoying it. They have said they're enjoying it. But this is Arabella Hogg, the lead character of the Maximite novel. She's chief enforcer of the Maximite Guild. Obviously, the novel covers her background and her. Then, of course, you've got Octavia, who is Chief Archivist of the Maximite Guild, and she appears in the novel as well. So this is Octavia. And at the bottom of this list, more characters will be added, of course. I've still got plenty of other characters, and of course Vala, who is the Chief Weaponsmith, Armourer, Grand Inventor of the Maximite Guild. And this is Vala. So, as I say, there are other characters to come. I've still yet to add Geoffrey of Trigon, Garen of Trigon, Duchess Isabeau, Duchess Marguerite of Cordavia. Then, of course, we go through the character creation, so you can create your own character through the Discord server as well. So this is where you sort of create your character classes. So we've got Warrior, Ranger, Mystic, Cleric, Rogue, Dancer, Entertainer, Mage, Shaman, Artisan, Explorer, Performer, which is separate to Dancer, and then the specialised factions, or the specialised types, which are Vampire, Maximite Guild Operative, Shadow Court Operative, Ondarian Peacekeeper, City Watch Officer, Caravan Performer. Of course, dancers are separate to Caravan Performers, because Caravan Performers are specifically the belly dancers. Caravan Backstage and Encampment Workers, and Caravan Affiliates, which are Sideshow Host, Merchant, Food, etc, etc. And then, of course, we have the factions, and this is where it starts to get interesting, because obviously we have the citizens of the Central Province, which is the Ondarian monarchy. And the one thing about the Ondarian monarchy is, no matter what province you come from, it's multicultural, it's 100% inclusive. There's no borders in the sense of nations or anything like that. You have the Desert Realm, the Central Monarchy, and the Forest Realm. To the west of the Forest Realm, you have Shadowmire, which is the Plagued Realm, which is technically a bordered nation, because it's cursed. And again, I cover much more about Shadowmire in the novel. And to the east of the Desert Realm, you have the lush green lands of Avalon, which is the sort of realm inspired by Arthurian legend, which I aim to focus on in the second novel. So at the moment, you've got citizens of the Central Province, which is with the capital city of Ondar, and multiple. And then you've got desert dwellers of Carlet, because the original desert people still reside in Carlet. They are resentful of, I don't know if I've actually mentioned here, seek to maintain autonomy whilst... I don't think I've actually mentioned it, but they are resentful of the monarchy because obviously it tried to enforce the Ondarian way of life upon the Desert Realm. Descendants of the Forest Realm, they are actually elven descendants, and they are fighting for a return to independence from the monarchy. And the descendants are actually descended from elves, so they look human. They don't always have the pointy ears, but they have the long life of... They're not half elves, because they kind of had the elven elements apart from their long lifespans, sort of evolved away from them by the Tyrant King 600 years prior. Then, of course, we've got the elves. Obviously, they're a hidden race, so they exist, but they are very much their own faction. The dwarves of Trigon. Geoffrey and Garen are actually the first humans to achieve leadership of the forges of Trigon. The dwarves themselves are, I wasn't going to go down the route of fantasy races and things, but I thought it makes sense to have dwarves and elves and things, because then it makes it familiar. All I have to do is add my own sort of twist to it. So Trigon is the only autonomous city in the monarchy. It doesn't have it has a seat on the Grand Council in Ondar City, but it doesn't send a representative. They are very much oh, that's cool. I can include that. I can mention the elven traits in Rose and Iris. That's perfect. That's fine. And then, of course, we've got Vampires of Necrotia, which originally was the city of Drevin. We also have the Fae. I don't use the term fairies, I do use the term Fae. I go for the more sort of traditional folk elements of storytelling. The Calvari are original race. They were surface dwellers, driven thousands of years prior to the rise of the Ondarian monarchy. Yes, they would be then. Yes, of course. The Calvari actually have very alabaster skin. They are literally pure white because they've spent all their time underground, since they were driven underground by previous civilizations, and they resent the surface dwellers, and they want to basically take back what was theirs. And finally, the Disciples of Iron are remnants of ancient, as it says here, the Antius Empire. They're not to be, the Disciples of Iron are not to be confused with the Sentinel project, being led by the Great Mage Iron, the Grand Mage Artem. They are their own. They are actually their own civilization, the Disciples of Iron. They're not very big as a civilization, but they have pockets of you might find Disciples of Iron as mercenaries. And then, of course, we've got the character introduction sheet, which you can fill out yourself, and one of our members already has, Anaconda. So she's created a character called Aletta, who is a sideshow performer, not a why can't I just say belly dancer? Not a belly dancer. So more like a sort of non-caravan dancer, shall we say. So that's, and then obviously we've got the whole section on YouTube collaboration with the videos that takes you through each sort of character trait and things, and that you can choose to sort of work through the collaboration. And then obviously there's more information, including a whole section on that. And then of course we have a whole section on the prehistory of the world. And this goes back to, this is actually the creation myth of the planet of Arenthia. So it talks about the literally does talk about the creation of the planet and the sort of birth of the 30 true children of Destrin and Larun, the parent deities. No one really knows where the 33rd deity, Serpentira, came from. It's claimed they are a child of Destrin and Larun, but there's no... that's the... I won't go through it all because it talks about proto-empires and proto-continents. This I won't go through because it's about 369 pages long. But if you want to have a look at the timeline of the continent of Monarcha, it goes right back to 50,000 years before the current events. It covers everything from... Let's go crazy. I know, yeah, you have to download it, so you can't just open it up. But yeah, it covers a full 50,000 year time period. So it covers all the entire Antius Empire from its rise to its fall, and then the Ondarian Empire from 1,000 years before current events, right through the civil war against the Tyrant King to events of today when the crown of the Tyrant King has been found. Then of course we have the 33 deities. These govern the universe, the planet of Arenthia, and the Ondarian monarchy. So I'll just scroll up and take you through them. We won't read the history or anything. That's what, if you join the Discord server, this is all here for you. So we've got the major deities. So we've got Destrin, the creator of the world and the universe. Then we've got Larun, the mother. Iktar, the scribe. And I should add that each of these images represents... So that's the Ondarian depiction of Destrin. That's the Desert Realm depiction of Destrin. And this is the Forest Realm depiction of Destrin. Then you've got his modern symbol, or current era symbol, and his ancient symbol. So again, Ondarian depiction of Larun, Desert Realm depiction of Larun, and Forest Realm depiction of Larun. Modern symbol, ancient symbol. Then Iktar, the scribe, Moravian, the warrior, Pelnat, the trickster. I love this one because this one to me makes me think of the Joker, which is kind of what Pelnat was sort of inspired by, but he has other images as well. That's his Forest Realm depiction. Then we've got Shade, who is the only considered non-binary deity, because there's no they never show their face, although that their modern symbol has a face. It's very neutral. That's the thing about Shade. And of course Varuna, who also has the city of Varuna named after her in the Forest Realm. Verena. Who's next? Creighton, He's one of the he's one of the dark deities. There's several dark deities. Yevola, who is sort of the confused, the bewildered. Then you've got these are called. He is known as a bridge deity because he bridges the gap between the major deities and the significant deities. So Torinax takes elements of other deities as well. Then you've got Kellen, who is one of the dark deities. Carnage, or Carnage, who is one of the dark deities. Viro, who is again a dark deity. He's the deity of plague and destruction. Seducer, who is a dark deity. Then Bermuda, who is the sort of deity of shipping and sailing, safe sailing. Grimwald, who is adorated by the citizens of Trigon. He's considered the first Forge Father, or the first Forge Master, I should say, because they're called Forge Masters, not Forge Fathers. Kalen, who deals with time and reality, so that's his Forest Realm depiction. Then there's Sil, who is actually the oldest deity, but appears as a child. He is very much the prankster. Shern, who is the sort of Bacchus of this world. Crone is the farmer, so he's actually the youngest of the deities, but he appears as an elderly man who is often, more than anything, smiling or looking very wise. So and then you've got the next bridge deity, which is Beltan, who is the keeper. And we go down to Marak, the musician. Plius, who is the enlightened, of course. Tratus is very interesting. He is actually the deity that's adorated by vampires. He is said to be in this world the first vampire, hence his depiction. And then Harvol, who is the seer, she sees all. Portress, who is said to be sort of the deity of portals, gives his name to portals, ports, things like that. Ranver, Baltrex, Quelox, Radkin, and of course Tyrannus, who is the last true-born child of Destrin and Larun. And then of course you've got Serpentira, whose origins are a bit more of a mystery, and they appear as their name would suggest, a snake or serpent. So that's the 33. Then this is how involved I've got in this world building. I mean, I have got currency as well. So I've mentioned Krell in my stories before. Krell is the primary currency of the Lord of War and Heartache. So when in the past it's been mentioned as 50,000 Krell, which in reality would probably be quite a few, probably be actual Drek Krell. So you've got Krell, Sit Krell, Nokrell, Half Krell, Vet Krell, Drek Krell, and then you've got the trade bars. So when, of course, it's mentioned things like 10,000 Krell, it would be 10,000 gold coins, or 100 gold trade bars, which you try lifting a bar of gold and tell me how heavy it is. It weighs. It literally does feel like it weighs a ton. Gold is very when you see them throwing gold around in Italian job, there's no way they can really throw. They would break their backs. Believe me. I've lifted a gold bar at the Bank of England Museum, and it weighs a ton. Anyway, so obviously there's everything about currency. So I've really thought this through. Then of course we've got the continents of Arenthia, and there's 8 continents in total. Monarcha being the 8th and smallest continent. There were, in the origin, in the creation myth, there were 15 supercontinents, and I've listed them all here. And some of them probably, so that's all listed in. And these are the main continents of the world today: Era, Valaris, Zenthia, Drakara. Era is where the what's known as the frozen wastes, or also known as Tundrulla. The nation of Tundrulla is found with its Ursine citizens. Well, it's a mixture of humans and Ursine visitors, sort of think sort of like polar bears. Then of course Valaris, Zenthia, Drakara, which is where the nation of Draconis is also found, which is the dragon's realm, also known as the Firelands, Erindor, Phalathia, Nithros, and Monarcha, which is also featured quite heavily in... Well, of course it's featured heavily. It's where the story takes place. Continent of Monarcha. So, yeah, as I mentioned, Era is the northernmost continent. It's basically like the North Pole of the planet, So Tundrulla. Not every continent I've listed has a known civilization. It's very selective. So, and then obviously Zenthia, which is a bit more like... The way to describe Zenthia would be a bit, I guess, like sub-Saharan Africa, with the savannas, and sub-Saharan is the right term to use. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's sort of the sort of grasslands and savannas of Africa sort of inspiration. Valaris is obviously the mineral-rich nation. Drakara is, what it says here, active volcanoes, ashen deserts, dark forbidden landscapes, and of course it's the home of Draconis. Then of course Erindor, which in lore I've not yet covered. It's supposed to be the birthplace of the elves and the fae. I may visit other continents. I mean, we've had representation from. We've had. I think I've had Tundra mentioned in the story. We've definitely had visited Draconis, the Firelands, in a couple of episodes set in that part of the world. Falacia is more like your sort of Caribbean, your tropical sort of rainforest continent. Nithros is one that stands out. It's a forbidden continent. It's supposed to be where the demons and the sort of vampire origins come from. So it's a very dark, forbidden. And then of course we have Monarcha, which of course has Avalon, Shadowmire, and the Monarchy. So obviously this bit goes through each continent in great detail, in greater detail, I should say. I want it to be, but it only goes up to. It only gives a very brief section about the continent Monarcha, because the next section is very much the entire element around the monarchy itself. And then of course we've got the provincial settlements. So I've kind of split the monarchy into three sections, the continent Monarcha into three sections. And I'm sort of working my way through each of the cities and things. Not all of them are listed at the moment. I mean, I haven't even got round to doing Port Knightsong yet, which is the principal port. I've just added Gebelvra, the capital of the Desert Realm, to the city list, which we'll go to in a second. As you can see, there's still quite a lot of cities. Varuna will be coming next, and I'll also be doing something for Riverend and Port Knightsong. So this is what I've got so far on the cities. So obviously we have a city flag. That's the flag of Ondar City. And then obviously we go into a history and information and some artwork. So, artwork for Ondar City. Some city sections are longer than others. So Garalos has a flag as well. And Garalos has played a part in the Caravan story before Tales of the Caravan. If you watched the Last Hurrah and the stories running up to it, that takes place in Garalos. So these are the city streets of Garalos. Then of course we've got Cordavia, City of Scholars. Now when you saw Cordavia in the opening sort of video that I created, you will note that the building you saw was actually the Duke, the Palace of the Duke, not the city streets of Cordavia. Very different. And it's also the City of Scholars. So the Dukedal Palace has sort of like a library and university entwined into it as well. And of course Taros, City of Merchants. And that's the flag. Taros is sort of the city that's closest to the border of the Desert Realm and the Ondarian monarchy. It's located in the Ondarian monarchy, but it takes its influence more from the Desert Realm, hence its flag and its city structures. And again, it features in the video that you saw earlier on. So it takes more inspiration from the Desert Realm than it does the Monarchy. Then we go to Drevin, which is the Fallen City. 2 flags for Drevin. The original flag of Drevin when it was the City of Beauty, and of course Necrotia, City of the Dead, which of course is the name for it. Now it's ruled by vampires, and there's a brief timeline that gives information about Necrotia. There's a bit more here for Necrotia because it's got other sections. I mean, this is closer to the palace of Lord Volkov. Then you've got the more sort of neutral streets, but it's always shrouded in darkness. It's always shrouded in darkness. And then of course you've got the City of Forges, which I'll scroll up to again. And this has its own flag, again created by me. And this has sections as well, because obviously you've got the artisan quarter where the artists and craftspeople reside, so your jewellers, your sort of iron workers, things like that. Then you've got your citizen quarter where ordinary people live, you know. Then you've got the forges, which create, and these may not look like forges to you, but they are forges. They are unique to Trigon. Then of course you've got the ancient tunnels underneath Trigon, which were built by the original dwarf inhabitants. These have been mostly abandoned and forgotten, but as you can see, they're still very much occupied or used, because obviously they still have lanterns lit in them, so they're still used for movement under the city, but they're much deeper down than the forge tunnels, which have their own system. These are the lifeblood of the forges. Thank you. Yes, yeah, mate. Yeah. Well, it's my imagination at work, really. Exactly. However you create content, you know, whether it be through Sims or my creation through the world. It's all, what's the word I'm looking for? Relevant. It's all relevant. It's all no. Relevant is a word I'd use, but it's legitimate. It's all legitimate. No matter how you create art, it's personal to you, and I think that's very important. I think that's very important indeed. And then of course Gebelra. This is the most recent edition, and if you follow me on social media, you will note that this is the flag I tend to use as my banner. My profile picture is the actual flag of the Ondarian monarchy, but the flag of Gebelra is what I tend to use as my profile banner. I like it. It sort of represents the desert realm, and then of course, sorry, I've just knocked my mic. And then of course we've got Gebelra and history of the city, and some imagery, some artwork of Gebelra from sort of the ordinary citizens down to the slums. And then of course we've got the governor's palace, again all sort of mixture of artwork from me. And of course the governor's palace was kind of rebuilt by the Tyrant King, so a lot of Ondarian influence has been thrown into it. And then adventuring, you've got the Adventurers Guild. These have not started yet. These are for these are very much for sort of role play, things like that. You've got the Maximite Guild. So there will be sort of role playing on the general world, but at the moment you've got the Adventurers Guild, where if you're not of the Maximite Guild or the Shadow Court, anyone can get involved. But the Maximite Guild is much more to do with that faction, as is the Shadow Court to do with that faction. So, and of course, I've made sure to, for the Shadow Court, put in the key distinctions of what makes them different to the Maximite Guild. Then, of course, we've got the general locations, which is the tavern, where anyone can chat. As we see, Graham has already sort of got the ball rolling. The tavern channel, so, and of course the rules are there will be no fighting, no bad language, and no inappropriate behaviour. Whatever the innkeeper says is law, and any violations of any kind will be met with permanent removal and a ban. And I am the innkeeper. So, although I do have people helping me out, of course. You know, if you want to be a mod, let me know. What it basically means is you become a council member over a regular citizen. And then, of course, we've got the Academy of Performers, which is basically to talk about performing arts and music and things like that. So, you know, your hobby, you know, your talents, your skills, your creativity, art, music, dance, acting, anything like that. Rafiq's Den is basically where you can exchange sort of feeds and servers and other platforms that you're on. So this is basically for your links that you can share. The merchant shop. Oh yeah, at the moment only I can see this channel. I've kept this one private at the moment because this one's work in progress. I haven't quite decided what this channel is going to be, so at the moment whoever's in my server can't actually see this one because I don't quite know what direction. I might end up deleting it, but I don't know what direction this one will take. It's there, but it's not there. And then of course the caravan, which of course is pretty much self-explanatory. It's about the caravan itself. And then of course at the bottom, the YouTube collaboration, which that is, I should merge, really I should. I'll sort that out later. I'll merge the two together if I can. And then of course YouTube videos, which go right back to the very beginning of the story. So we start right back at the very beginning, when it was ASMR. Tale of the Tyrant King, Blood Harvest. So, you know, it's all there. I've made sure the links to every single story is there. And they all interconnect. They all look separate, like they're separate stories, but they all interconnect. They all have a part to play. So, you know, obviously we obviously have the caravan, Maximus in Ondar, meeting in Karalos, and it's all there. You know, Blood Harvest, Vampire Saga, because it all ties in together. There's all links and then Caravan, Last Hurrah. Ignore the fact that that should be chapter 4 because that's chapter 3, but technically they're one and the same chapter, so it's just a continuation of the same chapter. And then of course Shadows of Varuna. This is the first time these two are actually the first time we've ever actually set foot in Varuna. Varuna has only ever really been mentioned by name. And then of course Tales of the Caravan episode 1, chapters 1 to 8, which I merged from smaller videos. And of course Tales of the Caravan, Recruitment Drive, which is the latest story. And then there's this, if you don't mind my terrible singing, this was me singing. So if anyone ever wants to, I'm going to play this because it's just a silly little thing. And you can watch this and I won't move my mouth and it'll look like I'm singing psychically, but I'm not. I recorded this yesterday. And it's the same video that you saw earlier, but it's got an extra little bit because I updated the video. You'll see what I mean. And as I say, I apologise for my dreadful singing. And if anyone wants to give it another go and actually make it sound like it's supposed to be, the lyrics are in the video. So here we go. Rise on dawn, rise as one, heart and soul, stand as one, land of our fathers, the monarchy of light, guardians of hope, within the shadowed night, under one banner, we stand golden and bright, bound by our honour, endless in our true might. Through the storms and fire we don't break, with courage strong for love's own sake. Our hearts are steel, no fear shall take, for on God's crown we shall wake. Lands may quake, the skies they may fall, but in Ondar's name we will stand tall. Through the ancient halls we rise and hear the call. One people, one life, one kingdom, one and all. The monarchy forevermore. Rise on dawn, rise as one, heart and soul, stand as one. Yeah, so as you can see, I am a terrible singer, but if anyone ever wants to sort of... I've got the music, I've got the lyrics. If anyone wants to give it a go, let me know. If you can do a better job at singing it than I can. I mean, I guess in that video I've taken on the role of a patriotic soldier who's hearing the anthem being played and, of course, has to sing along because it's in his nature. That's the excuse I'm using anyway. So that is pretty much the Discord server for Lord of War and Heartache. It's still very much work in progress. There's a lot still to be done, but I'm very happy with it. It's oh, I've just noticed I've got paint on my face. Why did no one tell me I've got paint on my face? You cheeky little... Cool. You let me do all that and didn't tell me I had paint on my face. Oh dear me. Dear oh dear oh dear. Looks a lordy, what are you lot like? That antibacterial hand gel just to... You let me go all that time without telling me I got paint on my face. Poor Bennett. There we go. Ah, got it. Dear oh dear oh dear. It's a good job I like you all. How long have I been going? Blimey, 3 hours 20 minutes. Don't time fly when you're enjoying yourself. Yeah, I mean, just seeing your comment there, Rosea. Yeah, Varuna's probably one of the easiest places to... I mean, you've got Cordavia, Garalos, Varuna, Ondar, Vod, Netska. I try and keep some of the place names simple. Gebelra is probably the more complex one to say. Bloodspire is another good one, but the story on YouTube hasn't reached Bloodspire yet. So I'm kind of toying with I want to expand the world. I've got all the artwork. I have got all the artwork. I mean, here we go. Here is all the artwork I have. I've got the caravan. I've got... Let's see. I mean, this is how much artwork I've actually created. I mean, we haven't even mentioned the lost city of Phaedra. Let's see. I mean, there's Garalos. I mean, it's a mixture of art I've created and photos and things I found off the internet. And that's got 107 pictures in it alone. I'm not sure how big Ondar City. See, we've also got City of Lioness, which is the capital of Avalon. And we've also got the City of Visara, which has never been mentioned anywhere. And of course, the City of Blackholm, which has also never been mentioned. They will be... they're teasers. That's a tease for you. City of Blackholm and City of Visara. There's plans for them. And of course, Varuna. See, also we've got artwork for River End, which is the small village on the coast. See, there's City of Varuna. That's what Varuna looks like. So it's very much a forest. It is literally a forested city. And this is all artwork of my creation. So lots of buildings and things that I can utilise. I mean, I'm not taking, and of course the marketplace as well. So it does have some occupied imagery as well, to give it a bit more, and some extra bits at the end for Varuna. But of course we got Trigon Terrace, which we've not even scratched the surface of yet. That's one of the Ondarian cities. As you can see, it's not as established as Taros. It's actually the sister city of Taros, but it's actually small in comparison. It's ruled by a countess, not a duchess. So, city of Drakenberg is the capital of the Firelands, aka Draconis. And of course, you've got the city of there's Cold Harbour. Oh, there's Cold Harbour. That's the capital city of Tundrulla, the realm of Era on the continent of Era, the frozen wastes. And then, of course, we've got all the people who occupy the land. So we've got the citizens of Tundrulla, for example. If it loads, and they paint their faces. A lot of them paint their faces in Tundrulla. It's a tradition that they do in the realm. We've not actually had any Tundrullans feature in the story on YouTube, so it's not really been mentioned, but the option is there. I do need to expand. There's a lot I need to expand, and then of course we've got the Maximites. So there's a lot for the Maximites as well. Agents, enforcers. It is huge. This world is huge, and I can't do it on my own anymore. This is why I make call-outs. This is why I literally shout out that I'm looking for people to help me, because this world has... Is that an empty folder? I don't need that one then. I don't need that one. Delete that. I mean, there's even Maximus's museum, which we haven't even scratched the surface of. That hasn't even been mentioned yet. I mean, obviously there's a modern... Why did I put a modern star in that one? I don't know. But that's the exterior, different designs I've created. And then of course we've got interiors as well. So all the locations have interiors as well. Noble houses. You know, everything has a place. Everything has a placeholder. It is incredible just what I've come up with. I mean, the people themselves. I mean, we've got a whole section about citizens of Khalet. There's, you know, citizens of the desert realm. Different. And these aren't the Ondarian. This is a mixture of the true people of the desert realm. And sort of the Khaleti people and the Ondarians. You can always tell the Ondarians because they sort of think they're so much better. You know, they sort of Here's the Calvari. This was the artwork I created for the Calvari that I mentioned earlier. So you can see they're almost albino, but you know they've been hidden underground for centuries. But yet, you know, it has become such a huge. Expand that again. It has become such a huge world that I just can't keep up. I really want to share it. That's the whole point of. I wouldn't create all this lore, all this backstory, all this artwork, all these characters if I didn't want to share it. That's the whole, you know. I'll tell you who one of my biggest inspirations is. Tolkien. I mean, the only thing I haven't got is a language. I don't have a set language like Tolkien. But I have so much else. You know, I've got a currency. I've got entire I've got 8 continents. I've got an entire planet. I've got a 50,000 year history. I've got a creation myth. I've got characters. I have got so many characters. In fact, I can take you through some of the characters. Because I have a load of them that are named. So here are the ignore it says that one, that's just a folder that somehow. So we've got characters sort of the Antius Empire. So if you're familiar with some of these characters, you know, I mean, a lot of these are characters that have appeared. I mean, we've not even scratched the surface of the devil wasps. We've not even scratched the surface of the creepers, the lurkers, the what else have we got? I'll take you through that folder in a minute, because I've done some. I'm going to say it here. See, we got Jeremiah Huntington, who appeared in the story. Grace, the only female character I have ever voiced, and I had to put the pitch up to +15 to get her voice right. The Happy Guest does have a name, as does him, but I can't remember. And then, of course, you got Aaron. That was just a bit of fun for the Maximus rap. There's Paldrock without his armour. Rafik Pandora, who has been voiced by Rosea, who I'm very grateful. The Plague Lord, Dragon Agent, Dragon Lord, Dragon Minister, Forest Governor. You see, there's I mean, a lot of these characters don't even have names, and a lot of them are just stock images I found over on the internet over time, and I've just edited them all to remove their backgrounds and things like that. You know, it's been through some of them come from Pixabay and things like that, and Pixels or Pexels, whatever you want to call it. But everything has influence. Everything, and this is something I've used for Lord of War and Heartache influence. I've created my own sort of Magic the Gathering artwork. Not that I ever think it would be worthy of that sort of thing. But you know, we've got entire things. You know, creepers, annihilation beasts, adamantine beasts. I've created blood wolves, bonehounds, chimera, dark griffin. Here's the devil wasps. They are. And then of course you've got dragons, Phaedric beasts, lichen. Obviously got to have lichen in the world. I only got one image for the orc. That's okay. Different types of scorpion. Shark tiles, which are land sharks crossed with reptilian traits, hence shark tiles. Sklade, who have only ever appeared in the story once. And then, of course, you've got the elementals. Again, a lot of this is concepts I've not even touched in the story. I mean, this is artwork that won't appear in the story, but elements of the concepts will. So you might hear about the Eater of Souls, or the Doom Angel, or the Dream Warrior sort of thing. The False Princes, and of course, the Legion of Darkness. Ties into the vampires. They're not actually vampires. I've been working on this concept for a while now, behind the scenes. The Legion of Darkness are not vampires, but they are linked to vampires. So watch this space. You'll hear a lot more about them. And then, of course, you've got the Calvari, male and female again, in their full armour. These are the Disciples of Iron, who I mentioned earlier. They are these are the Disciples of Iron, who I mentioned earlier in the opening section. And then, of course, you've got the Dwarves of Trigon. So they have their own imagery. And then, of course, you've got the Elves, the Fae. You know, all your classics. Humans, assassins, barbarians, barber surgeons, which have been mentioned in the story, and they are brutal. They are not respected at all. Blacksmiths, blade masters. These are the human characters. We're now in the human characters. Different types of desert dweller. Desert raiders, of course. Just going through here because there's a lot of forest dwellers, of course, each with their own abilities and things. Forest bandits, healers, hunters, investigator, knights errant. Obviously, plenty of sorcerers and sorceresses and mages. This is the Maximite Guild, so you've got 3 different types of agent, 3 different types of enforcer, 3 different types of initiate, remembrancer, and weaponsmith. So you've got, and of course you've got different types of merchant, a whole variety of military. I think I'm going to have to pause this because I need to have a comfort break, so I will be back. And I'm back. Live screen. I'm just going to quickly do something. So I'm just going to, before we carry on, I'm going to get some background music playing again. Oh, no, that's got lyrics. I want to try and avoid anything that's got lyrics. There we go. So, where was I before I interrupted myself? We were looking at character artwork, weren't we? So, yeah, as I was saying, I've got a huge library of artwork I've created. I mean, we've got whole sections of vampires as well. I mean, I think vampires are at the end of the list. Because it's not just that as well. It's not just that as well. If I go back to... I call them Planeswalkers, but that's because I've been reading up on Magic the Gathering just to help me organise this artwork that I've created. So you've obviously got characters from named characters. These are the artworks I've done for named characters. So although I've got them as Caravan, they were actually members of the troop that Maximus comes from. So you've got Ariana, the Mind Reader. Arik the Bard is actually more to do with the Academy in Kali, but for this I've just amalgamated them all together because they're entertainers. Callisto the Acrobat, who was originally played by Whisperwind ASMR in Chapter 7 of Lord of War and Heartache. I voiced Arik in Chapter 9 of Lord of War and Heartache. Harold, who I also voiced in the Academy video of Lord of War and Heartache. Lorana, who is the Sword Swallower of the troop. Nefertira, who is the Snake Charmer of the original troop. And Tanith, who was the original Master of Ceremonies. And of course you've got named continent spirits who represent the 8 continents of Arenthia. Then of course you've got the dancers, Alina, who has never been featured. She's a new original character. Arundella, as portrayed by Jodie Marie in Chapter 7 of Lord of War and Heartache. Representation of Alina, who was originally portrayed by Urmila Dolce ASMR in Chapter 9 of Lord of War and Heartache. Shy would have been Tifa 2 or Miss T ASMR originally before she had to withdraw. And of course you've got the artwork that you've already seen with the deities. These represent the Forest Realm depictions of the 33. Then you've got a character who's actually called Faye. She's a desert rebel against the Desert Realm governor, Quern, who is her Faye's partner and leader of the Desert Realm Rebellion. Lord and Lady Klaus was just a bit of fun I had, really. But the Ondarian monarchy does observe a event called the Winter Ember Festival at the end of the year during winter. So that is Lady and Lord Klaus. Aramalthea Dreamwalker was a character that was supposed to appear in chapter 17 of Lord of War and Heartache, but chapter 17 never came around. The main story kind of stopped around chapter 16, and I had to improvise, which is where the caravan came from. Then there's some original names. Chimera appeared in one of the vampire stories. And then there's the Dream Witch. Krampus was just something I wanted to amalgamate into the world. Master of Misery. Morrigan, again from Real Legends. Nemesis. Nightmare Lord. Shadow Lord, who has featured in a couple of episodes of Cleo and Trajan. Soul Reaper, who hasn't actually featured in the story. Spectral Antius Emperor. Watcher. And then Garen and Geoffrey of Trigon, who obviously are in the Trigon saga. And then of course Anira and Loretta, who are the two healers who appear in chapters 8 and 12 of Lord of War and Heartache, and of course Cleo and Trajan. Grand Mage Arton. Who else? Yeah, Grimwald Han, who is also voiced by Rosea. Hakim, who Artem, Grimwald and Hakim were all voiced by me, as was the historian. Then you've got representations of Arabella, Octavia, Vala, characters who haven't appeared in anything. Yolanda, Athena, Nova and Seraphina. Gideon, who is a regular character, who sort of not faces Maximus, but is like one of Maximus's fences. Obviously innkeepers are quite common. Jeremiah Huntington was in the Last Hurrah. Governor of the Desert Realm, Eldrad. Isambard Stanwyck was in Last Hurrah. Reginald Butler was in Last Hurrah. Obviously Rafik, the ruler of... Yeah. So the thing is, I could go on all day about this. I could absolutely go on all day about this because isn't that awful? I was talking over this jaunty music about I had my headphones turned right down so I couldn't hear what music was playing, and here's me talking about my world, and all of a sudden I turned my headphones up and this jaunty music is playing. Oh my god. Oh my god, that is hilarious. Oh, now it's gone back. It's gone back to normal. Oh dear. But seriously, I could go on. I could easily go on all day about this, because it just goes to show how big the world is. How I mean, here's the lands. I mean, you know, we've got smaller lands as well. I mean, sort of the pre nations as well. You know, it's whew, sorry about that. And then of course we got artifacts. Blood rubies feature in the novel, but I won't tell you what their significance is. But everything has its place. Anyway, that's me done. I'm gonna call it.